Well, what's up, everybody? I'm Keisha,
I'm Bernard.
and this is our first podcast of Super Marriedly. So basically, we started this podcast cast slash video
Yeah,
blog vlog because we've been through a lot in our marriage, and we're learning a lot, and God has really shown himself in our marriage, and we just really want to help people. So we thought we would open up and share a lot of the things that we've gone through in marriage as a blended family. I was previously married. We both were previously married, and I am a divorcee, whatever. And um, well, I'll let you tell your.
well, basically I'm widowed, so but currently married to my wife, which I truly love. Um, well, basically here to share our experiences and share some other topics concerning other relationships, and hopefully we can
Help
exactly.
people, inspire people, and help keep people's marriages together because God knows we need strong marriage foundations these days because,
A lot of communication is what keep these relationships together these days. So you basically have to not only you never can think about yourself, but you have to think about your partner as well.
yeah, very true. So, in this first episode, we ran across this Facebook post. We won't mention the name of the person, but basically, the gentleman who wrote it, he was married for almost 10 years with two children, and he decided to leave his marriage. He was cheating on his wife. He left his wife for the mistress and got a divorce, and later on did not work out. It didn't work out with the
The let's say the mistress.
the mistress. We'll
And
call her Eva. Her name is Eva. Um, so we were talking and just trying to, we were just talking about like deal breakers and how men or women, how you can leave a marriage thinking that, the grass is greener on the other side when really what you need to do is water your own grass and
exactly.
and so you can see your grass grow. And he was talking about how um he was having so much fun with Eva, and they were doing all these things, and it's like, his wife was just home being a good wife, but he later came to realize he wished he would have never left his wife. And she went on to find someone new and is very happy, and he's left, by himself.
Yeah, basically, I think this guy, uh, his work was to, I guess he was a traveler. He would travel,
Mm-hmm.
and do his work. And I think in between, he met this young lady, and he seemed more interested in the young lady than in his wife. Looking at the text, he explained that his wife gained weight. They hardly spoke whenever he was home, and he just felt like he wasn't happy. So I feel like he was basically being selfish. Instead of bringing it to his wife's attention, to reconcile the differences that he was having, or the differences he was having. You know what I mean? Because it didn't seem like he gave her an opportunity to fix, the problem, at hand.
So, do you think is it like why is it so easy instead of just dealing with what the issues are at home? Why is it so easy for men in particular, even though women do this as well? But why is it so easy for men to just first look outside of the home instead of focusing on, you know, their wife?
Um, hmm. I think first you have to be actually committed to the relationship that you're in. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not committed, you know, to the relationship, you can be led
Easily drift.
astray. You know what I mean? And if you truly love this wife, or he probably did at one point, but I think he didn't take the time to actually try to fix his marriage. He didn't. His communication process was backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, he was being selfish and didn't really uh, want to put in the work. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to stray away, but it's hard to put in the work and get it done.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? So um, the things that he was stressing in the text really seemed like it was all about I,
Hmm.
and
Or what she wasn't. Like,
exactly.
she was overweight, she was depressed, she, well, maybe because she was at home trying to take care of the kids and everything, and probably because she could see that the marriage was, she was probably very unhappy. He was never there. She was always there with the kids. She had to pull the weight, and I mean, I don't know if she worked outside of the home, but a lot of times, when you work outside of the home and you got, your husband, your children, and he's not paying any attention to you. So there's no, you know, all you have is your girlfriends, maybe, and then you have your husband, but his attention is elsewhere. His attention is not even on you. So of course she was depressed. Of course she was sad. And 9 times out of 10, she was probably trying some type of way to communicate to him that she needed more of his love, time, and affection, and all those things. And I think when you're in a marriage for that long, it's easy to get like mundane and dry, and then you think like, oh, I'm gonna just you know pop into this new thing, and then it seems so fun and exciting, and then if you decide to leave your marriage and all this, and then 10 years down the road, and that relationship is dry. So it's not, it's just, we go through these things thinking that we need something new, when it's really just the it's like a cycle. It's like a cycle. Every relationship has its ups and downs, and but if you jump from relationship to relationship thinking that the next one is gonna be better, you're gonna run into you're gonna have problems. They're gonna be different problems, and they could be problems that are much worse than the problems that you had in your previous relationship.
Right.
So jumping, from relationship to relationship is not the answer. It's like you said, being committed to your spouse and saying, like, where divorce is not an option. It's not an option. It's not on the table. Like, if you go somewhere, and this is how I see, our marriage. If he's like, I'm going somewhere, I'm like, okay, well, where are we going? Because it's not an option. It's coming from a divorced, being a divorced person. You realize that it's just it's a choice. Basically, you just choose to stick it out. You choose to stick it out for the sake of the vow that you said before God, for you and your spouse, for the children, for the stability of the home, for the family. It's just literally a choice. In my previous situation, it was a little bit different. There was abuse involved, and anybody who's dealing with abuse, I do not, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. but just regular issue, just regular everyday problems of not being bad communication, or just ups and downs of life. Those things can be worked out. You just have to make the commitment and work them out.
Yeah, you definitely got to put the time in. You definitely got to figure out what's causing the issues, um, and set some goals. You know, anybody that's in a relationship that's been married 10, 15, 20 years or 30 years, they would tell you that it's been a long road, and they was able to fix it and get it right. And a lot of people in those relationships, they claim that they're very happy, and they was glad that they stuck it out. Um, this this guy here, to me, he was missing the value in his relationship. Basically, he says here, she spent her free time taking care of the kids, making supper, doing the dishes, making lunches, doing homework, um, projects, taking care of the pet, their friends, and on top of that, had a job of her own.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that's love right there. You know what I mean? If you look at all the things that she's doing, she cares about this man. She loves this man.
That's true.
And he couldn't see that. You know what I mean? His mind was.
Do you think he didn't see it, or do you think he just took it for granted?
Well, he says in the text he took it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
He did take it for granted. And
but why does it seem like it's so easy for men to take good women for granted? Like, I mean, this is like, this story is so, it's old. This is a I don't want to say typical, but this happens so often. Like this, it's just he's bold enough to actually say, I made a mistake. I wish I could, I wish I could have my wife back. And he can't because she's now remarried. But why is it so easy for men to just walk away?
That's hard. I mean, I think pretty much selfishness, thinking about themselves. This guy actually said that all they basically did was argue, and they didn't feel both of them felt unheard. He didn't have no excitement. I feel like if you take your woman and you make the excitement happen together.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're missing that in your relationship, or if you had it once before in a relationship and it died down, then you just gotta resurrect it. You know what I'm saying? Make it happen. The grass is not green on the other side. Once you get to the other side, the honeymoon phase might be good for a few months, but after a while, it's gonna die down, and you're gonna have to understand it's gonna be ups and downs in in that relationship also, and it's not guaranteed that that person gonna stick around anyway. You know what I mean? You've been married to this woman for 10 years, and you're just gonna throw all that away for
a fling.
Pretty much.
So do you think that she had any responsibility in him leaving? Do you think she bore any of the fault?
What he says here, I believe she didn't love me. I convinced myself she never cared about me or my needs and wants and wishes. That all I was a paycheck.
Ooh.
So You know,
Mm.
with him feeling like that, you know, it's kind of hard to
Mm.
give a
He
good
says,
assessment.
I'm sorry, honey. He says, little did I realize that I was the reason she was so down and depressed. I didn't pay her any attention. I took her for granted. I was too busy wishing my life was more exciting, being romanced online, spending all of my free time thinking how I could get out.
Wow.
That's but see, okay, see, the mind though is a very the devil is crafty because he said he was spending um he was being romanced online, and all of his free time he was thinking how he could get out. Once you open the door to that, to you start looking, you start entertaining text messages or entertaining or Facebook, whatever, or you're entertaining, in social media, or in ways that you shouldn't as a married person. Once you open that door and you get that little spark of excitement, all of a sudden everything is terrible in your marriage. Oh my God, you just can't say so, because your mind is like, it's playing a trick on you. It's just like it's like an addiction or something. It's like once you get that high, you're like, oh, this is what I've been needing. This is what I've been missing. When really, if he would have been spending his time, while he was traveling, maybe talking to his wife, there are plenty of ways to have exciting moments when your spouse is traveling and stuff. Um, so, nowadays there's no excuse. And, if he would have been spending his time investing in his wife, they could have that could have been, his, his, um, his excitement that he missed, because I guarantee you, the woman that he misses is the woman that she was. He's not missing some, brand new woman.
Right.
So he just was putting his energy he wasn't putting his energy into her. He was putting it into other things. And like the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So he was thinking on other things, and that's exactly what he got.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it was a trick of the enemy. It played a trick on his mind where he thought that he was getting something that he was missing, when everything that he needed was at home anyway. And it's crazy how the mind can be it's like a catch-22. It can be your greatest asset, and it can be your greatest downfall. If you don't learn how to discipline your mind and not focus and think on things that you shouldn't have. When you have those thoughts, you have to rebuke them. You have to come against them in the name of Jesus. So we are believers, but and God puts these, he gives us this authority that we have while we're in the earth to miss those fiery darts of the devil. I mean, it's real. It is real. He comes only to kill, steal, and destroy. And God loves marriages, and of course the enemy hates them. So he's trying any and everything that he can throw at them. Trust us, we know, having 4 children, 2 biological children of my own, and 2 bonus children, we go through a lot. I mean, it's a lot, and we're faced with something all the time.
Yeah.
That we have to fight our way through. And so it's a choice. It's literally a choice. But we didn't always have the tools. We didn't have the tools. We was running around here looking crazy, arguments were out of control. It was horrible. It was just horrible. It's kind of funny now, but it wasn't funny then. But it 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 takes the will to figure it out, and like, okay, this is what's making my husband crazy, or this is what's making my wife uh angry, or this is what's making my wife sad, or this is what's, when I say this to my husband, that's not working. You have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Sorry,
Definitely.
I've been talking a lot. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. Communication is big in relationships. Communication, how you approach the situation, how you approach each other. When you get into an argument or you have differences, you just have to basically, approach the situation with some grace. Like I always say, two people that's angry is never going to get nothing accomplished. The wrong thing's going to come out. And it's just not going to, the situation is just not going to end well. So,
yeah, and he definitely always says that.
Yeah.
And that used to get on my nerves. Because he says it like while you're mad, and that's like, you don't want to, even though you know it here in your head, but at the moment, everything is here in your heart, and you're and we are like I am passionate and I'm feisty, and I got like a lot of energy most of the time. After a couple of rounds with the kids, I'm like, I gotta lay down. But and my husband is very mellow. He's like here all the time. It takes a lot, for him to go there. And, I'm like, I come in on 10. I'm just like, I'm the party starter. And so that same passion, I have, when something's bothering me, or when, I'm upset about something. And a lot of times, even before, it wasn't even that, like, because my voice will, I'm a loud talker anyway. I talk with my hands, but when you're angry and you're doing all that and your voice is loud, it comes across as, more anger or more frustration than actually that I probably was really even feeling in my own heart. So, I had to learn how to control that more, so it didn't come off as, so, aggressive and so angry, like super angry, because sometimes I wasn't even as mad as he thought I was. It's like, why are you yelling? Like, I'm not yelling. I'm just loud. But that's no excuse. You can't just say, okay, well, this is who I am, and you deal with it. That's not the right approach in marriage, because now you're one. You are literally becoming one flesh. And if my husband is telling me, I don't feel like you love me anymore, or any of these things that this man was telling his wife, or even if he wasn't saying it, like, wives, you have to be in tune to say, like, hey, are we good? Like, we do that. Like, we got beef. Are we good? It's something, it's like a little temperature check, like, is everything okay? You can't just, well, if he's not going to say anything, then I'm not going to say nothing, or, you can't be, marriage is not for babies. This is a grown person's situation.
That's right. Exactly.
This is not, for weak people. Marriage is a ministry. You are showing your children how to conduct themselves. You are showing the world, what marriage should look like. You are presenting, when you step out into the world and you all depressed and downtrodden and angry and mad and you just beat all up, like, you're not inspiring anybody to want to be married. You know, you're not inspiring anybody to want to have this gift that God gives us, you know, to be able to raise up generations. You know, you're not marriage is sacred, you know, and it's something to be taken seriously. So you can't approach marriage with idea of like, well, this is who I am, and if he don't like it, you know, too bad.
Hmm.
You know? Why you say that?
I'm just listening to it because it's true. You know, you just can't approach it like that.
Yeah.
So let's see. This guy says every time his wife spoke to him, all he heard was nagging and whining, but she was actually begging for my attention. A weekend away, a date night, a movie, everything I needed, everything I ended up doing with Eva behind her back after I left my family.
Go ahead, honey.
So I don't know if this guy was actually now if you doing movies and all this stuff with the other women, there's no way you're going to be interested in trying to reconcile with your wife. You know what I mean? It's going to be a hard situation because you think the grass is green on the other side, and then you're going back and you know you're trying to make something happen with your wife, and then that and doing that.
Everything she say,
everything that's being said, it's pretty much just gonna, you know, either you're not going to be interested in the conversation, you're going to be thinking about the other person, and it's just not appropriate, you know, to do that in that situation. I feel like you got to be able to stay interested in the relationship because you have to be able to know where you're going. You know what I mean? It's easy to fall victim to, you know, being into a quick fix, easy relationship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To me, this guy only was looking for some excitement. He was looking for something new and fresh where he thought he was. But in the end, it really costed him, you know, because he ended up years later regretting leaving his wife. Didn't get the opportunity to, you know, grow up with his kids. You know, he was only seeing his kids, you know, maybe 3 or 4 times a month, probably not even that. And he missed his wife. You know what I mean? The thing with Eva, it worked out for maybe 4 or 5 years. And then after that, same thing started happening with his wife. You know, that goes.
So maybe he was the problem.
Pretty much, because that goes to show that, you know, once, like what we said, once the honeymoon phase is over, then reality kick in. You got to really understand the person you're dealing with. You got to really make some sacrifices when those ups and downs do happen. And he just didn't do that with his wife. And then when he was with his mistress, the same thing was happening, and it just fell apart on him.
So what advice would you offer to men in a man's language? Like, what would you say to men who are who are having thoughts of like, oh, this marriage is whack, it's not fun, you know, she don't look the same, she don't do the same stuff, you know, all we do is argue. I'm just sick of this. Every day we do the same stuff every day. It's boring. It's not fun anymore. What would you say to a man who's like ready to walk out on his family? in a man's language
Well,
to
the first
get them
thing
to
I
wake
would
up?
say is you got to know.
Like, what would you tell your homeboy?
Well, I would tell my homeboy you got to look at you know the value in the woman that he's with. You know what
That's
I
not
mean?
how you would say it, honey.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. If my homeboy was playing in the league,
Yeah.
and first thing I would ask him
Mm-hmm.
is, what do he see in this other woman that he don't see in his wife?
Okay. Okay. So I'm
So
gonna be
I,
your.
you know what I'm saying? I would have to know that.
Okay, I'm gonna be your homeboy.
You know what I mean? So it's
Okay.
like,
So
so
ask me.
I'm like, bruh, you know, what you see in this chick you don't see in your wife.
Man, she be texting me all types of pictures, and she fine. And my wife, she kind of put on a couple pounds. I mean, she's still cute and everything, but she don't look how she used to look. And this one, she bad, and she's exciting. Like she be wanting to. She's spontaneous and wanting to do this and do like go here and go there, and the conversation she be saying everything, man. She be saying everything I want to hear. And my wife, when I walk in the door, she just argue. She want to know where to check at. She want to know about bills. I don't have to deal with all of that with Eva.
I would say, bruh, I feel like right now you just in the moment. I think, you need to really, evaluate your situation. You know what I mean? Because the situation you're in right now with the chick, right now, to me, you're just looking at the assets. You know what I mean? And your wife is your backbone, bro. You know she gonna be there. You know she got your back. But this right here, bro, you don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really take your time and try to make that work with your wife. You know what I'm saying? Because um, she know you and you know her. You gotta fix it. And the first thing you gotta do is communicate with your wife and sit her down and let her know how you feeling. You know what I'm saying? And if you causing the problems, then you gotta fix the problems. If she losing weight, then both of y'all, you don't need to go to her about the weight. You just need to offer her, you and her, some. Let's go out and walk. It's plenty of ways you can bring that situation up. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta just go home and be like, you know what, you need to lose some weight. You can't do that. You can't do it like that. So when you met her, she was bad. You thought she was bad. So you know what I'm saying? You get with this chick, she might blow up, and then what you gonna do then? You're gonna be doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying, that you're doing with your wife. So
That's a good point. So what? So what? Yeah. What if she blow up? Then what? Now you're on wife number 3.
Wife number 3. So you gotta. Sometimes I think, man, they get selfish. You know what I'm saying?
Very.
And a lot of I ain't gonna say a lot of men. I'm just gonna say sometimes.
Why you won't tell the truth and shame the devil?
Sometimes, sometimes they may feel like they being mistreated. You know what I'm saying? Or they not getting the respect that they deserve. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes the man gotta check himself. To figure out if he doing the right thing to get the kind of respect that he deserves. You just can't take advantage of the woman and then feel like you're gonna get respect at the same time, or you're not doing what you're supposed to do to take care of your family, your wife, and you know what I'm saying. And she's supposed to still treat you. She's supposed to treat you right. But if you not taking care of her needs and her emotions while you're not doing the right thing, then it's just not gonna be a good situation.
So when he tells her, and what if her response is not, what if it's not, what if she is not in the place yet to hear how he feels and be willing to change some things about herself at that moment? What if she hasn't come to the place yet that she can see that because you can't make anybody change. It literally takes God to work on your heart, to show you yourself. And that's what marriage is supposed to do. Marriage is supposed to show you you. So what if she's not at the place yet to where she can hear it and receive it and like have that light bulb moment where she's like, oh my God, I've got to do something different. What should he do? Because we're going to approach this like you cannot divorce. So what should he do at that point if she's not like, oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you felt that way. And she like actively puts a step forward in the right direction. What if she's like, well, I'm like this because you did X, Y, and Z. And, maybe she's just not at, I'm tired all the time. You leave me with the kids and I mean, like, she's not at the place, you know what I'm saying? To hear that he's hurting and she's a part of that. And she's not able to yet accept her role in the decline of their marriage.
Well, it's a hard thing to do, but she has to really put a step forward and listen to him. And
I'm saying, what should he do?
Well,
what should he do?
What he should do? Wow, at that point, a man gonna feel like I came to her and I expressed myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To let her know how I was feeling, but she didn't want to receive it. And if she don't want to receive it, and just basically, just push this conversation to the side, then that's a problem for a man. Yeah, that's a problem.
So should he try counseling? Should he suggest counseling?
Counseling.
I mean, why is it, I believe that women have a lot of power in our marriage. I believe we set the atmosphere in our home. I believe that our attitude towards situations can really change our husband's hearts. Like, you have, I mean, for God's sake, Eve got Adam to disobey God when he walked with God. That is power. That's not to be abused, but it's a realization that you have your husband's ear, you have his heart. And if you aren't, when you have his heart and he's coming to you and you reject him, that's hurtful to anybody, but men especially, because of y'all's ego and because of just how men are built. It's hard for men to deal with rejection, especially coming from their wife. So, we have so much power. It should not be abused, but it should be wielded in a way that helps cultivate the love in the marriage. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, and it is a lot of work. Just like it's not easy being a man. Like their work is hard, but it's different. Our work as a woman is hard, but it's different. We don't we don't have that need of, oh my God, I have to provide. Like as a single parent, yes, you have that. But when you're in a marriage, like I feel like, for men, you're built with this thing of, I have to take care of my family.
Oh yeah, it's in the man's nature.
Like I don't,
that's manhood, for a man. You know what I mean? That's he's on top of the mountain when he's doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Like I don't like walk around like, oh my God, how am I gonna, I'm like, okay, he's gonna figure it out. He better do something. Like I don't have that thing like weighing on me, like I have to provide, I have to protect, the thing that weighs on me is I have to raise my children right. I have to make sure my husband has a comfortable home. That weighs on me. Those are the things that, yes, I work outside of our home, but the thing that weighs on my heart, the things that, are twirling around in my mind is, are my children taken care of? Am I raising them right? Is my husband cared for? Those are the things that am I getting closer to God? Those are the things that are like on my mind. I don't think my husband, when he lays down at night, he's not like, am I raising the children properly? And not that you don't think about it, but I don't think that that's the thing that is weighing on you when you lay down. It's like probably more so providing, and he's always the one to like make sure the doors are locked. He's double checking, and I'm like, oh my God, come on, it's good, but he's vigilant, he's like the one who's the watcher. I'm like, what, I hear something back there, I'm going over here, you go over there, it's just a totally different makeup. But golly, I said all that to say that, when your husband is coming to you and you have issues, you have the power to really change the environment of your home, because as a woman, this is your castle. This is where the queen rests, darling. And this is where you are going to have peace. If nowhere else in the world, you won't have peace in your home. And it's your responsibility. It's both of y'all's responsibility, but especially as a woman, that rests more heavily on our hearts, and we can't just focus on the children. We have to make sure first our husbands are provided for and taken care of, and then the children. And that's not my rule. That's the rule of the Lord's. So that's, that he sets it up that way for a reason. But, so I would just say to any women out there that you can feel that your husband's going through something. You can feel that he's not happy, and happy is fleeting. I don't like to say happy, but he's, there's something wrong. There's something going on. You need to tune in. And I would definitely say pray. You need to pray and ask God to remove whatever that wall is in your heart that you have built up. You need to ask God to tear it down and to restore the love and the joy and the peace that you all once had in your marriage. I promise you, God will do it. He will do it. He has done it for us. I am a living witness. If you pray, he can't change me, and I cannot change him. And the one thing I have learned is when I start to change myself, he'll begin to change. And I pray for him, and God will begin to change his heart, because I cannot change his heart. I don't have those capabilities.
That's true.
So I would advise husband or wife, pray for your spouse. Give them to God. God made them. God knows their heart. God knows what it would take to get them back on track. God knows. He knows. He knows. And you could not possibly know, but God will give you. He will give you the words. He will give you the wisdom. He will give you whatever you need to say, to speak a word of wisdom into your husband's life.
I want to say this. A lot of times people say change. I just say it's once you get to learn your spouse, their likes and their dislikes. I just look at it as adjustments, and the adjustments that's hard for you to make. And some of those you might have to have some compromises on, but you got to start somewhere. And then once y'all compromise on those situations that might be hard for you, and once you work on those things, and then it'll start to work out. Then things will start to to really to change in those areas. So that's an inner relationship that you're going to necessarily be in. I mean, it's going to be some adjustments that you're going to have to make. You know what I mean? And if you really love your spouse, then those adjustments won't be hard to make.
Amen. And on that note, we want to just say thank you so much for joining us in our first podcast. We don't actually have a schedule yet, so just stay tuned, and we'll be posting and letting people know when videos will be going up and when the podcast will be uploaded. But thank you for joining Super Marriedly. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at supermarriedly@gmail.com. I also have a channel just for women. It's Super Womanly, and you can email me there at imsuperwomanly@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook and Instagram for questions or comments or issues that you'd like for us to talk about. Feel free to let us know. So don't forget to comment and subscribe and like and share. Please share to anybody who you think would benefit from this information. As always, we pray that your marriage is strong and healthy, and that God continues to bless each and every one of you.